2, 1.
Sippers, welcome to this episode of the Tea With Me podcast with me, Shane Todd. Dan, what episode is it? 133? 134. Fuck. Episode 134. Not that it matters, but it's episode 134. Before we get stuck into this episode, let me plug the Patreon, which is patreon.com/teawithmepodcast, where we do bonus Monday episodes and live stream Friday episodes. But I've got to plug our sponsors. Our first sponsor is, as always, Punjana Tea. What's the number one selling tea in Northern Ireland? It's not Tetley. It's not... What are other ones? Barry's. Barry's having a mare because he's not number one. Number one is Punjana, made by the Thompson Tea family, who've been making tea in Belfast since the 1800s. And most people weren't even born then. Well, the people that were born in history were born then, but people now, no one was drinking the first batch of Thompson tea. That's how long they've been around for, the 1800s. They do decaf, breakfast, and just Punjana. You know, and Punjana sounds like it's made, you know, somewhere maybe off the coast of Greece, but it's not. It's made in Belfast. Punjana, number one. What's their slogan, Dan? Punjana, we're number one, fuck the rest. That's their official slogan. We're also sponsored by Manscaped. Manscaped's the number one in men's below the belt grooming. Now, I'm one of those guys who's like doing it in reverse because, as you can see at the minute, I've got a full beard, but not opposite, if you know what I mean. You know, I've got the hair up here, but down there it's smooth and it's nice, just like everyone who works in this podcast, because we use Manscaped products. They've got the Weed Whacker, the Lawnmower 4.0, ball cleanser, ball deodorant, ball wipes, whatever you need. Ed Balls, remember him? They've got it all taken care of. So if, like me, you're a hairy guy, you know, like you're like a, you know,
a bear,
rough around the edges, bear, in the gay community everybody knows a bear, you've got to keep it nice downstairs. So I will shave here, but just know that down there it's all good. So manscaped.com, use the code TEAWITHME for 20% off and free shipping there. What's it called, Dan? The Performance Package? Performance Package has all that stuff. And Dan, if you're a fan of the Patreon, next week is going to put a live shaving video up. So that should be a lot of fun. Let's get stuck into this episode. My guest is a returning guest, but first time we've ever done this in studio. My guest is Jamie Lee O'Donnell. I wish we had not. We don't have anything once to say that.
That was such a letdown.
Like a studio audience. Like, remember that TV show we did called NI Trending?
That's right, Di.
But there was people there like loving
clapping. That was great.
Live on it, the show.
I mean, the people clapping whenever you said something was lovely because you were like...
Yeah, but then everybody left. Do you remember that? So
that's right.
It was supposed to be in an apartment in Belfast, and this was like 4 years ago, 4 years ago. Yeah, and I only got asked to do it the day before because someone must have dropped out, and
celeb.
I was brought on like last as like the last guest, and there was an audience of like the crew's friends, and there was about 20 of them. And then they just had to leave before I went on. So there was no one there. And the director, it was supposed to last for like an hour and a half, but it lasted for about 4 hours. And the director, as I was going on, went, mate, plenty of energy, yeah? I was like, you're talking to the wrong guy. I was like, I can't bring any energy to this. And then me and you were just talking about cars. Do you remember that? Because I was trying to get you to buy my car.
That's right, I get so I was really nervous doing stuff like that at the very start.
Just because it was like not acting, because it was
It's weird because people think if you're an actor, then you get to, like, you're dead outgoing and, you know, and you can be sometimes, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'd never done anything like that before, and it was sort of pitched as a bit of a panel showy thing, which is kind of what it was.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what to do. It was just sort of, you know, you threw yourself under the deep end.
Yeah.
And whenever you said something, it's just like, the audience laughed. You're like, ha, 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 ha. You're like, thanks, guys. Yeah. High five.
Remember that guy? Funny. We were like, sort of like the backstage bit, and there was a guy who was a breakdancer, do you remember? But he was like... He was from Northern Ireland. He was like in his 50s.
Oh, aye, that's right.
And he was just in all the Adidas gear telling us about his breakdancing days.
That's
Do you remember this?
Aye, it was dancing behind us, wasn't it, at one point? Yeah, he danced for the camera.
Yeah, but he was like warming up, and it was like really close to us, and I was like,
just really crotchal
please
here.
don't breakdance like in front of me. I don't like that at all. Are you more comfortable doing stuff like that now?
Aye, a lot more comfortable. I mean, we'll see about with this, but
yeah,
it's just sort of settling under.
Well, this is the main one to get nervous for, isn't it? Because like the amount of people watching.
Hollywood.
You did a Bake Off, and now obviously
this.
You're here, so it's all going up.
I know, and it's you just sort of get comfortable in your own skin a wee bit more the more things you do.
Yeah.
And my rule is I don't watch anything back when I'm just being myself.
Right.
I just don't. You can't critique your own personality because that's mental.
I'm the opposite.
Okay.
I watch
Your
everything
head's just
back.
right up there, just mad
On
about
loop
it.
multiple times. I used to hate listening to myself or watching myself, but like now I love it.
Just love it.
I really like
The
it.
Christmas presents is just your headshot to you.
Yeah, my
Just-
Christmas presents are real, of just our best stuff. You're in the middle of filming at the minute, and the
Yes.
coolest thing ever is right now you have a driver. Driver brought you here. I was going to ask where do you get parked, but you have a driver.
Driver.
Do you sit in the back?
Of course.
Oh, that's so showbiz,
Sunglasses
no?
on.
Yeah.
No, do you know what? We have we just have it for the job. Obviously, most jobs you go on, you'll have transport and stuff like that. So because I was rehearsing this morning, and then I came here, and then they're taking me home. So happy days.
But then you were saying that your driver's just like outside. I'm so like unnerved by that because I'm like, does he want to
he's
come
not
in?
just sat outside looking on the window. He's really, really lovely fella, and I'm sure he's a way to get a cup of tea.
But why don't you sit in the front?
Because I think that's weirder.
Yeah, I do too. But
It's such a lad thing to sit in the front of a taxi or a
Think so?
lap. It's such a lad thing.
Take
To sit in
some
the
of the
front,
sweets.
what's happening, buddy? You busy and out. It's just such a dude
Get him
thing
in a
to do.
headlock.
Aye. So you're later, like, it's just, you know what I mean? And then the women on their back just like, oh, shut up.
The
Do you know what I
only
mean?
time I've ever sat in the back is I got a taxi home whenever I got circumcised from the hospital. So I sat in the back for that, but you could understand that.
Fair enough.
Just in case he's,
Too much masculinity in the front, you're not ready for it.
No. I
Still
wasn't ready for it.
fragile.
But yeah, I think I'd be a bit weirded out having a driver. I'd want to know now what he's doing.
Why?
Do you know what I mean?
Why?
Because it's just weird to me. He's just sitting there. Like I know he might be going for a tea or something, but he could have come in. He could have come on the podcast.
I mean,
Does he wear white gloves? We had.
yes. No, he doesn't.
You brought those for him.
I know. I insist on it in my contract.
But he's got to take you. He's got to drop.
I drop me home. Why? Well, that's because part of whenever you're working on a job, you'll have transport as well to and from
I've never
home and all that.
I've
sort
worked
of
on
stuff.
some stuff where they're like, "Here's half your bus fare."
I mean, I've worked on stuff like that too. This is the building of my
Yeah.
career. You know,
You
you
should
do
just
it.
ask him to like keep him on.
Just sit outside my house all weekend.
Yeah.
And don't move till I come out.
Yeah. But is there chat? Like you chat?
They're so lovely. The drivers
That's
on the
good.
job are so sound.
Because I hate getting into a taxi
Mm.
or something where the guy just doesn't want to chat.
Oh no, I don't mind that.
You don't?
I hate when they try and talk and it's not they're not getting the vibe. You know, someone try to pull a conversation out of you.
Yeah.
And you're not in the because you're not always in the form to chat.
Yeah. Oh, I don't want constant chat, but just a wee bit every
How
now
are
and
you?
again, or like a wee fact. You know, if we drive
Aye.
past somewhere and he goes, "Here, you're not gonna believe what year that was built," or something. You know, like
Aye.
a bridge or something. I'd like that.
Guess who lives in there?
Yeah.
Sort of. Aye.
I'd like that.
So you go, oh, and
Yeah.
then just that's it. Back to your phone.
I don't want to chat. Not the whole time.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because especially taxi drivers will say a few things where you're like, mate.
Do you know what? I sat
Can't
in a
say
taxi in Derry, right? And there was a couple of us, and it was at night, and we were driving into the town for food or something, and I was in the back seat, and he brought up Derry Girls, and he was talking about the show, and he's like, "I'm not on it at all. It's just really."
Oh, he didn't
shit
know
and
you
all."
were
And I
you?
was there, like, at the back seat, and my friends were like, "Ha, well, it's not for everybody." And he's just like, "It's awful," and and I was just sitting in the back seat, like. But it's one of them things. People come up and apologise for not seeing it, and you're like, it's totally fine.
Yeah, I get that with gigs where like a guy will come up and go, "Mate, my bird loves you. I think you're shite." No, I'm like, I don't need to know half of that. There's half of that you could leave
Leave
off.
it out.
Yeah, I don't know why people
People
wanna
do
know
that, and like, I'm really sorry, but I'm just not into it. And you're like, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
It means nothing. It's okay.
In
You
the
don't have
grand
to
scheme
like
of
it.
things, it's fine. Like,
It's grand. People aren't going to always like the same stuff.
have you had any like? Because last time we were talking about weird fan interactions, but have you had any like anything weird? Because you're back to filming Derry Girls now. You're in the middle of it. What about when you went to Barry's? You're filming in Barry's and
Aye.
like everything's like they're in Barry's.
I know people.
Does that happen where like word starts to spread of where you
It
are,
does,
and
it
then you
does.
get people at a hedge going, or like
Well,
a
you
wall?
get the long lens cameras in, which is very
yeah.
weird.
Perverts.
Scumbags. It's
As soon
just
as you screw the long lens on, like it gets a bit.
You're
it
on a
gets a bit
tree.
dirty. Yeah.
it's all very weird then.
Yeah.
But do you know what? We come out, and we got a few people took photos and stuff like that. But whenever we're in caution, we can't take pictures with people, obviously. And then there's loads of wee kids waiting, and you can't really. It's a bit lousy, you know, because you can't come out and start taking photos when you have a minute.
Yeah.
Because it's all really busy as well, and
Right.
people have to know where you are. But people were buzzing about that. Obviously, I can't talk about anything.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
It is.
So how long have you been filming for? How long have you got left to go?
We have loads left. We do have loads left. We've been filming for a few weeks. We do have a good bit left.
Do people ever do stuff that like interrupts the film? And like, would you ever be filming? Because you film some stuff in Belfast,
We do.
a lot of stuff in
Mm-hmm.
Belfast. But do you ever get like someone like fuck up, you know, from like from like a hedge or so or a wall?
This is season 1. There was it's actually really funny. It still makes me laugh. We were filming in. Sorry, is my fish really red? I know it's a weird question.
No,
to ask.
we can edit.
You can what?
We can edit if like.
Face creams. No, I just feel like fucking like I'm really red. Anyway, so we were filming.
There's no pressure on this podcast.
No, I know, I can tell. I thought Protestants would have done better, but here we are.
Well, joke's on you, because we only employ Muslim guys.
Okay, good. But I just feel my face going off. I have to put makeup on. Are you okay with Protestant Catholic jokes?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, everybody.
It's a mixed bunch here. Like.
You have to have a laugh with stuff like this.
Yeah.
You just have to, because if it's over, especially our generation, that's sort of just after the main shebang of the Troubles.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a laugh about the Protestant Catholic. You just have to.
Oh yeah. I mean, what would have been funny is if you said that and then we like switched the cameras off. I was like, "Air cheers for coming," but
Imagine.
it's not gonna work. No, Hollywood's a very mixed town. Everyone's rich, but it's a mixed town.
So religion doesn't matter if you're loaded.
No,
Let's be
no
honest.
one. We judge you more on economic status, bank balance, all that sort of thing. Religion actually isn't really. It's more of a myth around here.
How attractive kids are. Just a really standard.
Well, I don't know about that one, but there's been no. The Troubles are like a myth, right? You know what I mean? Like it's more of like because Hollywood's so close to like 4 miles from Belfast, but like growing up, like
Did you grow up here?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
But you may as well have been a million miles away, like.
Okay.
You know.
There's something about the upper classes that just things don't really apply.
No.
If you have money. I mean, I don't get it,
sure.
but you look like you might.
Yeah. No.
Like, yeah.
I can't deny that. Like, it's good. It's a good time around here. You know?
Hey, fair play.
The biggest like troubles in Hollywood was like I remember when the Marxies couldn't get hummus for about 2 weeks, so there was a backlog. So
devastating.
That's probably the worst. It's the worst it's got. But no, Hollywood's a very cool place.
I grew up Derry.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Derry's
council
nice.
estate. The people end up buying their own houses on the council estate. So
yeah, that's the dream, isn't it?
Were they damp? Yes. Was it a problem that we solved? Yes.
Had there been something terrible that happened like a couple of weeks before you bought it? Yes, but no. The other thing about Hollywood is it is like pretty rich. Like not all of it. Like not where I grew up or anything is not rich. Well, like it's not you know what I mean? It's like it's not rich, but
on
it's
a scale of like
no, it's not
scanty loaded.
If like skin 0 loaded's 10, 4.
So
4, 5?
from scant to James McLean. Which way are you?
That's the name of the that's the name of the new Drake album. From skin to Dan, write that down. It's the name of the episode. Does James McLean have a big mansion in Derry? I'd say he's bound to.
I have no idea.
He's bound to.
Do you know it's funny because Saoirse was telling me this of where I think it was like her family home or something like that people had thought that it was James McLean's house. Like it was around the corner from a friend of hers. It was a couple houses down. Right. People were like, that's James McLean's house. And her friend was getting dropped off, or somebody that she knows was getting dropped off. And he was like, you can't, it's not on here, that's James McLean's house. He was like, no, I know the person, that's where I'm going. Jackson was like, it's not, just turn the car around. That's James McLean's house, you can't go on there. And he was like, it's just, you know how rumours get spread?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where James McLean lives. I don't even know him.
We'll find out.
I'm talking about him like we're besties. I don't even know him.
Have you ever met him?
No. We were in the same room once.
Right.
So
basically, yeah.
Brother and sister.
Yeah.
That's how it works in Derry.
But what were you going to say before that? Before we start talking about religion? Because I should point out, I just worked on the miles here, and this studio was 50-50. 50%.
It took you that long to work out the maths?
Took us that long.
There's 2, 3, 5 people here, and you're like...
Oh yeah, so it can't be 50-50. It's...
2.5 Protestants, 2.5 Catholics.
Exactly.
That's kind of what we need, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, well, that makes the world a better place, doesn't it?
That's it. I was saying about the weird interactions in Derry Girls.
Yeah.
So season 1, we were filming in Derry beside... do you know what past the court? Do you know Derry up past the courthouse towards Bishop Street?
I
So
know
Bishop's
Nando's
Gate.
in the Richmond Centre.
So not that.
Right.
So it's Bishop's Gate, so it was up towards Bishop Street, and we were filming. Basically, it's a big steep hill, and it's the one where the wee dog runs.
Oh, sorry, on the wall. This is near on the wall.
It's at the gate of the gate of the walls. Yeah. So we were standing there waiting to go up this hill, and they had an old cop car, and knew everybody's set for the 90s. And they were shooting behind us, so we get that wee walk up and everything. And we were going for it. And you know what I want, because it's outside and it's right, we finally have it organised. Let's go. And we walked up the street and we were doing our thing. And some fella walked past and straight into the shot in a brand new Adidas tracksuit in a little bag. And he was all, what's going on here? He's filming a wee show. We had a cut, everybody back down. Brand new little bag, Adidas tracksuit, and we had a cut. And there was like 2 or 3 people at that time. just literally wandered on the set, just like, it's crack. I know that's on camera. So people did things like that, just wanders on.
That guy should have just been given a permanent role in the series.
I feel like he should
Just
have.
showed up in
I want
every
to know,
shot.
I want to know what was on that little bag.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to know what's on that little bag.
I mean,
People,
season 2.
there's something about people seeing a camera out in public
Aye.
that they just get. It's like moths to a flame. They like have to be on it. Like whenever I went to tech at Belfast Met, I did filmmaking, so we always like were carrying about cameras, me and Mike, and people would see you and just demanded to know what it was.
Aye.
And it was always like a wee shit student film, but people were like, is this a news?
Aye.
Like, no, 2 16-year-old fellas in football tops are not the main ITN news. Like,
It's funny, isn't it? Where people just sort of have to. It's like all those things you see on YouTube. You know, people coming in behind the news broadcasters.
But
and stuff.
how different are interactions from when you first started, like when you were filming series 1 to now, because the show's so successful? Like, do people approach it differently if they like to see you out filming?
Well, people sort of gather around more now if we're outside, especially season 2 in Derry. We had crowds of people, and it was lovely because people got to sort of watch it and sort of, you know, when it was on TV, be like, oh, I was there and all the rest of it, and I get people messaging saying I was down, and Miguel told me he was doing that. So it's kind of nice, that sort of interactive part of it if you're a fan. And it's just having a wee nosy as well, isn't it? See what's going on and see who's there.
Yeah.
But you do get it a lot. You do get people sort of coming in and sort of hanging about. But that's what it is.
And is it, they just want a photo? Is that it?
I sometimes want a photo or want to be sort of part, and just sometimes just to sit and watch.
Yeah.
We had season 2. Are they going to tell me off for telling this? I'll tell it anyway.
Yeah.
So one of the times we were so tired, everybody was just working. There was a cruise, brilliant as well, and we were flat out working. We were on this location, and we were sitting in a cafe, and we were all sort of sitting there around the table, and we were doing our lines, and the camera was set up, and they started the shot, and then somebody just walked straight over. Did I tell you this already? No. Some fella just walked over with a pen and paper, and he stunk a drink, and he said, "What's the crack, Derry? Can I have a wee autograph from me, Wayne?" And we were like, "Cut!" We're like, "What?" He was just standing the shot, like, "What's happening?" Sat the thing down for us to sign the autograph, and we're like, "We're actually literally in the middle of the shot. Can we do that autograph in about 20 minutes?" Somebody come up and it was that nice, and like he must have just come out of the bar and been all, "Jesus, there's the Derry Girls." Just walked in and asked for.
I think you've got to put all that footage out. One series 3's done. I love to see stuff
do you know
like that.
there's so many like behind the scenes stuff like that was just mental.
Yeah.
There was loads. I hope they do it.
I'd be terrified. I think I'd be terrified filming something like that in public. I don't like, if I'm filming something, I don't really like people watching, if that makes sense.
I can put you off.
Yeah, I just get nervous, like, as it is. You know what I mean?
Aye.
But like, if I can walk around the Holy Lands and interview a student, but then when a couple of people gather to start to watch, I get all nervous because I want to be funny, if that makes sense.
It's pressure, obviously.
Yeah.
It's weird pressure. People staring at you. And they're like, "Oh, you're the comedian. Be funny." And you're like, "Huh."
Yeah.
I had somebody ask me. I've come out of a centre in Derry, and a fella stopped me with his door, and he was like, "Oh, you're from Derry Gears. Go, be funny. Tell a joke. It's my wee girl." And I was like,
You should have phoned me. I would have come down.
"Like, give us 2 minutes." Shane Todd here.
He'll come down for
He'll
50 quid.
He fucking loves it. He'll be straight down. Well, am I allowed to swear on this?
Yeah, effing right. No, you can definitely. You can. I want to ask you about, like, because it's the last series. Is it like emotional doing, or is there like a bit of like sadness or something? Because you know it's gonna be the last series.
We haven't got to that point yet.
Right.
But you know, you feel it's coming.
Right.
At the minute, we're like, "Oh, it's fine. This is great. We're put it to bed. It'll be lovely."
Does it
wrap
get filmed
up.
in order? No.
No.
Right. Okay.
No, not at all.
So you might do the last scene not last.
Well, we've done some of the last scenes already.
Right.
It's weird though, because you kind of do want to keep them for the end and be like, "Oh, this is beautiful," but it's nice to kind of have them done now.
Yeah.
Because they were such, they're big. They're a big deal. They're a big deal, guys.
Yeah.
No, but
Do you cry? Do you cry when you read it?
Aye, some of it.
Right.
Some of it's so lovely. Some of it, like, I think Lisa's outdone herself again. I thought season 1 was brilliant. Season 2 was better, obviously, because you know the characters, they're established.
Yeah.
Then you can, so from the start, you can just get onto the madness. And season 3 is the same. It's just mental from like straight away.
What's Kevin McLeod like on set? Because, see, growing up, that guy is one of my comedy heroes. Like, I used to watch his stand-up when I was real young, and it's so different, his stand-up, like, so intelligent and such a slow burn. And then I got the gig with him about 6 years ago in Oma, and it was a comedy festival. And I was like, he's one of the only comedians I've been nervous to meet, and he's the nicest guy. Like, did a radio show years ago. He came on as a guest, and like there was nothing in it for him, but he got the bus down and did it. And then one day I saw him in Oma, years before Derry Girls, I was just walking about Oma and I saw Kevin McLeod and I was like, "There's Kevin McLeod and I wonder what he's at." And then I like walk around the corner because he's walking somewhere. I was like, "What's he doing?" And then I was like, "Where's he going now?" And then I realised I'd been following him for about 15 minutes, and he
Where's
went.
he get on to number 5? I must go on and see. Just Sandy's Mondo. Who's your woman?
What's he doing in the shower room here? He went into a hardware shop, and at that point I was like, I don't know. And then when I had him on the radio show, I was like, I need to know what you bought in the hardware shop that day because I've been following you all
You
day.
standing behind him with a hammer.
Yeah.
Hey, Kev.
Hey Kev, can I get an
crack,
autograph for my son? What's he like? Because he's a comedian, but like the loveliest guy. So like you meet some comedians, it's like always trying to be funny, all that sort of thing. But I don't imagine he's like that.
Do you know what? I haven't had a whole lot of scenes with him because obviously he's part of the Quan family and the McCool's.
Yeah.
So I've obviously chatted to him a couple of times and he is just really, really sound. They sort of let him ad-lib sometimes as well because he is so funny and he just constantly keeps going and keeps going and everyone's just sitting like that. And you can see people sort of holding it on the things he's saying and then they'll be like cut and everyone will just piss themselves off him. But a couple of times they have let him just ramble and ramble. Yeah. He's just great at it.
Because you're probably seeing those guys as like actors because you're there to act on set, but I'm saying like him, Tommy Tiernan, I'm like, they're two.
Well, I was always a big fan of Tommy Tiernan before we worked together. I'm a big fan of comedy. Yeah. Don't know if you know. But I always liked Tom, but I think Tommy's a really good actor as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, but
he,
because the best thing about him in that is you're watching him going, that's just a man acting a part. You're not in your head going, that's Tommy Tiernan pretending to be like this normal type guy.
Yes.
So he's so good in it.
A couple of people said to me after season 1, like, what was the crack with Tommy? I was expecting all the madness. I'm like, he's not doing a stand-up gig. It's not a documentary. He's not being himself.
His microphone because he wasn't.
I know. He didn't jump up and down at all. Yeah. But it was like he's obviously an actor as well, and I think he's really good. Being able to, because especially if you know what he's like in stand-up. And they've been able to switch to Dad Jerry then. It's, you know what I mean? But, I mean, it does a great job, like.
And just in general, like, day-to-day life, like, fans and people coming up to you, like, has that increased? Or does that stay on the same level? Or is it almost like maybe when you get to, like, a certain level, people are more like, I'll give her space, because, like...
It just fully depends on the people, to be honest. I think I've changed my attitude towards it, obviously, because that's the one thing I can control. Because at the very start, I was really nervous. You don't know what to do with all that attention. I'm not that into attention. I know it might not look it, but people assume because you're on TV, you're just loving attention all the time, and it's not the case. So there is times, obviously, you're just not in the form, or you look like a bag of shit, and you just don't want your photo taken or whatever. But it is getting a lot better, I think, because I am being a bit more assertive in myself. Not rude or not being cheeky to anybody, but just being like, I'm really not up for photos. Yeah. Just elbow, just straight on top of the head. But what does bother me is...
That was quite specific to the point where I'm like, that's maybe happened.
Once or twice. But I mean, it is what it is. People are interested, and I obviously appreciate people watching the show and stuff. But my thing is, if you wouldn't want it done to you, if you think it's mental, maybe don't. Like hospital, dentist... Those scenarios where walking over and asking someone when they're vulnerable, can I have a photograph of you? Oh. Especially when people just want a photograph of you.
Oh, no,
and they stand behind. I'm like, what are you doing?
No, don't do that. I've had that once. And I was
it's so weird. Just Google my photograph. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Just me, like,
See now you mentioned hospital. I thought my appendix had burst, right? This on stage. Had to go to hospital that night and was lying in the Mater Hospital on a bed in A&E. There's like curtains up between you and the other beds. I'm waiting for the doctor to come and see me. And there was a guy to my left who was handcuffed to the bed.
Nice.
And he had, not in like a sexy way, but he had a policeman with him.
But that wasn't a sexy way.
The sexy policeman, right? But the peeler was like trying to relax him. And the guy's like threatening him. He's like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And he's screaming at the top of his voice. I'm lying there being like, I'm going to have to get my appendix out. I'm feeling terrible. And then this woman came over and was like, I'm so sorry to do this.
No, you're not. Stop saying you're sorry.
I wasn't at that point where I could be like, listen, it's not the best. Go on Google Images, like you say. Like, pick your best one. Photoshop yourself in. But at this point, I was like, yeah. She goes, we came to see you last week. And I was wondering, can I get a quick photo? And I went, yeah. And we did it. And she knelt down by the side of the bed. It's mental. And we're like doing this photo. And the guy besides that, like, I'm like, posing for it, like, I might die tonight. And the guy beside me, like, I'm gonna fucking cut your head off and all. And then he started talking to me, when the curtain went back, he's like, "What the fuck? Why are they keeping you in here?" I was like, "No one's keeping me in here."
Aye.
And I'm like, it was just a whole big
What were
moment
you arrested for?
where I could have just been like, "Sorry, like it's not the best time when I think I might die," you know. But even at that point, I was still like, "All right, well, you know." But you definitely do.
I
need to
did a
be
lot
like,
of that at the very start too. We just don't know. You're so out of your depth.
Yeah.
You don't grow up in Derry and then suddenly have the pizzazz about you with showbiz. You just don't. Like you look at some of the
Derry and pizzazz don't.
there's you look at some of the photographs I've done on some of the red carpets. I just look mental.
Right.
Such a bad combo of everything.
See, literally, like before you arrived, I was doing a photo shoot downstairs for GQ. No, it wasn't for Sunday Life. And the guy, I'm so bad at getting my photo taken, like so bad. And photographers from newspapers are always like, when you're a comedian, they always go, "Just give us a funny pose."
A funny pic.
And they'll be like, you know, just maybe like, what about that there? Or like, you know, this guy. That's a classic
And with
one.
stupid.
But he goes, maybe just fold the arms and turn to the side.
No, I had the worst pose.
Yeah, but I still did it.
You did
And
it.
in my head, I'm doing it. And I'm like, I don't know what it looked like. And I'm like leaning against the wall. And I know it's going to look like shit in the paper. But I'm not like assertive enough to go, "Mate, trust me, just let me freestyle this." And I would have just given I would have just given it dead on. I would have kept my head down, then count me in, then 3, 2, 1, and then just up.
Jesus, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, you didn't even see it straight on, which is.
I might be pregnant. We need to ring somebody.
And he would have been too, you know what I mean? It would have
Probably.
been that good. But he's like, "Mate, no, just give us this." If I was with someone, he would have went, "Go back to back and fold your arms," and I would have done it. I would have done it. He'd be like, "I've got a big foam finger, mate. It says stupid with an arrow." I'd be like, "Oh,
Banana peel on your head.
Yeah,
What am I not?
I'd have done it.
Do you know what? I was obviously been in that position before, but I think my patience were just totally tested.
Especially, living in Derry, like a like very insular type city. Like Derry's like its own world in the best possible way. So like everyone knows you. You're in the most iconic TV show from that place that's still
In the history
on
of TV.
Sorry, in the history.
No,
No, you told me to say it earlier. But that must be a nightmare. So like you don't live in Derry now. You moved out.
I don't live in Derry now. But it's, as I say, it's about how I was handling it. I was saying yes to everything nervously, and there's just loads of photos of me like about to cry beside people. Just
did
really
you ever
nervous.
like do any like event or film a wee thing or show up, do a personal appearance or something? And what was like the one where you were like, why did I do
Oh, there's
that?
probably loads. How long do we think?
Like that's for me. People go, "Will you show up at this thing?" I can't offer anything when I show up at something. I'm not going to do stand up at it.
Okay.
And like I'm not pizzazz enough to walk around. All right, guys, how we doing?
Hi
So
there. How
there
are
was
you?
a rugby TV show BBC and I were doing, and they said years ago, they were like, "Will you come down as one of your characters, your Mike McLeod rugby player character?" And like as people are like, you know, having a drink before the show, the audience, there was only 50 people there. Will you like just chat to them as your character, give them a bit of a laugh, work the room a bit? And I was like, "No, I'll be really uncomfortable." And the guy's like, 120 quid. I was like, "I'll be there." And I got the suit on and like wore all the gear and arrived down at this thing. And then he literally, like the production manager, walked me into like a room that was deadly quiet.
Oh no.
Of just like 50 guys. And it was mainly like middle-aged guys. Some of them had their kids with them. And the guy went, "Well, go ahead." And I sat down. And then I got so nervous that I couldn't do it as a character. So I forgot to do the character's voice. I was just doing me. So I'm just sitting in a stupid suit, like coiffed up hair, shorts, like suit shorts.
Yep.
And people are like waiting for, and some guy was like, "Well, how are you?" Probably expect me to launch into a big bit. And I'm like, "Good, thanks yourself." And I was in there for an hour. People stopped talking to me at one point, so I was just sitting, 120 quid, canapé and a glass of champagne. So bad. But I regret not. Like now I'd be like, I wouldn't be funny. I'm not your guy for that, you know what I mean?
People do ask you to do like weird stuff. I think they assume you've got like this repertoire of like performance things you can just pull out of your arse whenever. I mean, there's some of it you can, a couple of drinks, the splits, done.
Right.
No problem. At a party. Just casually hold my leg up, just like, have you seen that? So that's the thing, right? But whenever it's like like something proper, people, like I've been asked to come to stuff and like events and something like, "Will you come to this?" And I'm like, "Right, but what's the thing? What am I doing?" They're like, just come and just do a wee thing. And I'm like, but what's the thing?
Exactly, yeah.
I can't just get up and start doing a skit with myself. Like half and half.
The robot.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like, people just don't think that they have to give you a sort of structure sometimes.
Yeah.
And that happens when a lot of people ask me to meet their kids. Will you come meet my kid? And I always say no, because
because you're gonna elbow them in the head.
But no, do you know what it is? I don't have any. I'm not a comedian. I'm not a magician. I'm not a singer. I can't sing them a song. I'm not a kid's entertainer.
Yeah.
I just go hello, and then that's it.
Formal handshake.
That's it. And I think
Why do you say hello like that to the kids?
Because I'm really wealthy. But no, do you know it's like, what do you do? It's like it'll be 30 seconds.
I know.
How are you? How's things?
Yeah,
What crime are you
yeah.
in? That's brilliant. Well done.
Do you know all I have is
What?
look at the dad or the man and go, and what's this young man's name? And then he says it and I'm like, all right. Go
Bye.
you. I have nothing.
But
I have
it's
nothing.
just, I appreciate people like the show, and obviously if I'm out and about, people want pictures with their kids and stuff. That's grand, But it's just me with my be like, can you come down and meet my kid? Because it's such a big thing to go down to meet a kid.
Yeah.
When you've got nothing to offer anybody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Perfect.
You just
hello, and then you do the splits.
Hello that. But just like maybe your headshots on your phone, just like, have you seen this one?
Yeah.
This was me out with my friends. That's me drunk at Christmas.
This is my bank balance.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that, you just be like, look.
Any weird DMs recently? Anything that's made you go, oh right.
So I don't really check them that often, because some of them are weird. Some of them are just.
Check them.
Oh, my phone's downstairs.
Oh, no.
There's some where there's this guy. It's so funny.
Oh, no.
He sends me DMs of just, and every time I go on it, it'll just be a random picture of him with a glass of wine and the camera up here, or like it'll just be like eating something, or like his foot at the TV watching Derry. It's just such a weird.
Sock on or off?
Off.
Dirty bastard bareback.
Scumbag, I know.
Bareback feet.
Dirtbag. But you just get the.
What do you think when he's setting himself up, when he's pouring a wee glass of red, and he gets a light sorted, and what do you think he's thinking? Does he think you're going to reply and go like, is he just wanting you to know he's a fan, or is it has he got the wine being like, there's another glass here? Is it that kind of vibe?
Well, I did send a picture once of just the glass of wine. And I'm not sure if that was an invite, or that was like, I can afford wine, or I don't know, or I own a glass.
Yeah.
I don't know what the brag was. Mm-hmm. It could be anything.
And you're not replying to any of these, obviously.
Well, no.
Yeah, but it's weird that he.
What are you going to reply? Well done on your glass of
Hello.
wine. Hello. Best of luck with the wine. Do you know what I mean?
But it's weird when there's a load of mess. You know what I mean? Like a load of them.
Well, this is it, because I don't go on it that often. When I do, it's just like one after the other.
Yeah.
And usually if someone sends me a picture, I don't open it, because you just don't know what's there.
Yeah.
Or someone sends a video, or somebody sent me a voice message once, and it was so weird. I didn't listen to it.
Voice message? I have voice notes.
I love a voice note, because I can't bear to type it a lot of the time. But a voice note on Instagram it's limited, obviously.
Yeah.
But I went on it, and it was weeks before, the actual day, because I hadn't gone in.
Right.
And my friend Aisha and Paul, my fellow, they were like, just play it. And I was like, I'm not playing that. Because they sent us a photo before, and it was a weird picture. And then a voice note was like, I'm not playing that. In case it's like a curse or something. Or fucking hex. It's just weird. You play it, and it's like the ring situation or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, or it's just really, really, really creepy and weird. Or like, something sleazy.
Did you play it?
And I didn't play it.
Oh, I really want to hear it.
It'll be a good bit down. No, that's lousy though, because I
Yeah,
don't know who a fella
yeah,
is. I don't want to be
fair,
like, haha, well, this dickhead.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
We'd like it. We'd like that. That'll be fun. I don't get weird messages at all.
Maybe you are the weird message.
Well,
Do you ever
yeah,
think?
I'll send them. I just said I don't receive them. But I'll mainly get WDC, bro. What the crack, bro?
What's the crack, bro?
Flat out.
I get a lot of people asking me out, like shooting their shot, like you wouldn't believe. You in Belfast, do you want to go for a drink? And you take you for a pint and a game of pool?
I would love you to just
Yes.
reply. Yes, no problem.
Yes.
Pint and a game of pool isn't.
Where do you live?
Pint and a game of pool is a good night. Like that's a
Great
good
night.
night though. You know what I mean?
Great
So
night
like
out.
you
So
you
you're like,
gotta respect
do you
that.
want to go for a pint?
Yeah.
And a game of pool?
Yeah.
I've got a boyfriend.
I'll get like someone I've never met before, male or female, say like, what do you say? I'm doing waterfront tomorrow night. Someone will go, any plans for the show? I'm like, yes, I do.
My wife and kid.
Yeah.
Just probably saying bye to them.
Yeah.
Do you know?
But hold on, this guy wants to go fucking kayaking.
I know.
I'll go.
Do you know? At the start, I got a lot of women messaging me and asking me out.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people thinking I was gay, and we're like, I'm so glad to see a gay actor on TV. And I was like, okay, okay. Yeah. But it's just weird when people sort of assume.
Yeah,
do you know that kind
yeah,
of way?
yeah. The new show you're doing is called Screws?
Screw.
Screw? I didn't know whether it was screws, or
This
screwed.
is so unprofessional.
Screw, but it's just screw?
Screw.
Screw.
Yes. Like a screw.
Yeah, but it could have been screws as in like screws. You know, 2 screws. Because there's more.
There's 6.
There's 6 screws, so it could, or it could have been screwed. Because if you're a screw, and then like if you can elbow someone in the head, then you just got screwed.
He's got screw, buddy.
You know, but is it grit? It looks like a gritty thing.
It's.
Fuck's sake, Dan.
Shh. It's me as my stomach's rumbling.
Dan just screwed the podcast there.
Dan ruins
Are
everything.
you hungry?
No, I'm grand.
Okay. You said your stomach rumbled. I thought you might have been hungry.
No, it was just at a dance rehearsal, and I probably am, but
You're hungry?
I'm gonna eat later. I'm good. Thank you, though.
Don't leave it too late. You know what I mean?
Aye. For energy. I just had a dance rehearsal, so I've danced off all the food from this morning.
Right.
I know you're all dying to know that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
These are.
Do you just do the splits in it?
I just sit in the spots for like 45 minutes, just like that.
Just in the splits, but just moving the hands every once in a while from the ground.
Just give it
That'd be
dance hands. But I screw. So it's a kitchen sink drama. It's a proper gritty, the opposite of Derry Girls.
What do you mean kitchen sink?
So it's like a proper, like a proper drama.
Oh,
real
I thought
nitty-gritty.
you meant it's legitimately about
A kitchen sink.
kitchen sinks.
That's a phrase in the TV world, I suppose.
Right.
It's
Well,
usually described real drama. You got it. But
Late License, BBC Northern Ireland sketch show 7 years ago. Ratings it.
well, then you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. I
You
get
got it.
Yeah.
So it's a real gritty drama. Really, I need to stop. I keep hitting
Please
stuff.
do.
I'm like a toddler.
Please stop.
So fuck it up. So I still play a prison officer.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't see. I'm so shit with stuff like this.
Do you have your own accent in it?
No,
What accent do you have?
Jamaican.
Nigerian.
English,
Right. What part of England?
Northern. They wanted to keep it quite vague. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shoot! Yeah, I was chatting them.
I
They said
commissioned it. It's
grand.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, so it's very, very different world, obviously, from Derry Girls, and it's nice to sort of do something at that level.
Yeah.
That's a real drama.
They film in a real jail.
No, they built a jail. They built a 3-story jail. It's so
That sounds so
impressive.
impractical. Like, why would they not just go to one that I suppose
Because
people are
prisoners
using it?
are in there.
And
And
like-
nobody wants to get raped and murdered, so
Prisoners might not be the easiest guys. That like you mentioned, people walking into a shop. You know, if like I walk in as a floor manager, I go, guys, we need you to just keep it down a wee bit because we're trying to film something. So
Bring
if
it
you could
down.
all just chill out.
this is really difficult. You wouldn't understand.
What about Crumlin Road? People film stuff in Crumlin Road jail all the time.
I don't know. It's happy days.
I don't know why I'm
done.
asking you why they didn't film it there. But I'm just saying, like, it's a
It's an
lot
option.
to build a jail, yeah.
It is, but it's also a lot more practical because then the walls move for filming. You can move everything about.
Yeah.
And it's a filming. They've built it like a real prison, obviously in terms of size and scale. The guy Rob Williams who wrote it,
Robbie Williams?
Rob Williams, it's his second cousin. Not son. So he actually volunteered on prison. So he for years, as a creative, I think he helped with creative writing and stuff like that with prisoners. So the whole thing itself is a really honest look at prison life and prisoners and prison officers, obviously. But they built it it was filmed in Glasgow, and it was inside another giant building.
Oh, okay.
So the set and all that, and the trailers and all the bits and pieces was all on this one building. So it was really great to film there. We've done a couple of different locations, but it was mostly there.
Is that class as an actor? Because, like, imagine going between locations is a bit of a nightmare.
It
like,
can be. I mean, and all that costs money as well.
Yeah,
You have to move everybody and shift all that. So it was really handy. Plus, the show itself is over. It's not that long of a period in terms of the storyline. So we were in very similar clothes and hair, makeup and stuff. So it was really probably the closest thing to a 9-to-5 I've had in a long time.
Right.
You kind of got that vibe of like going to work and the prison, and we got trained by real prison officers and stuff.
Class.
So it was really, really
I'd be
interesting.
asking them far too many questions.
We did. You want to see my notebook with stuff?
Oh,
And then
class.
you started putting notes down. You're just like, so what's it like? Like
Yeah,
it's mental.
because
You get into
I
it.
love watching prison stuff because I think loads of people do because you're going, what would I do in that situation?
Aye.
How would I cope? And I know like I cope very well. I'd be
You'd be
top
great.
dog. But when I you
Mad
know what
Dog Todd,
I
is that
just
what
walk
they would call you?
straight in. I walk straight into the pool table, stick a pound down. I go, listen here, dickheads. I'm up next, and winner doesn't stay on because I'm just staying. I just play pool a lot. But I
You
like
walk out with a pull cue in your eye. It's like, fuck, messed that up.
But I liked time which was on BBC recently.
Yes.
Because I like the grittier type stuff where you're like, because like Prison Break and stuff like that, like I enjoyed that. But I like the grittier stuff because the more you get a sense of what it would be like, that's when it's really interesting.
Aye.
You know. But
Well,
I'd hate to go to jail.
Most people would, I'd say.
No, I think some people, like a lot of people in documentaries you speak to, like when Trevor McDonald's talking to guys or whatever, they always go, fuck, some of them are like, fucking, I'm not going to lie.
Aye.
I love it. Like a lot of guys are like, bed, TV.
Badge of honour coming out.
Yeah.
All that to carry on.
Grey sweater.
For
you
me.
know, no, a lot of the
just for
time they'll get provided with a nice grey sweater.
And that's my favourite shade of grey. You know, the marble grey, the prison grey.
Yeah, that's
Perfect.
your colour.
That's what I asked when I go into JD. Do you have anything in prison grey?
And they that's their customer, you know what I mean?
That's it. It really makes my eyes pop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can I get a Le Coq Sportif ankle tag, please? Yeah, no, I think, when does that come out?
Next year. I don't have the dates yet. The dates will be released soon. I don't know. They don't tell us until right before.
But that'll be very interesting, even being that environment, because I did, not to mention again, I've been in Crumlin Road Jail for the tour.
Right.
And you do look around and go like, flip, this is
Mental.
what it must be. Like, because I went in, we were filming something in there, and you get to like walk around, there was no one in the whole place, and I went into the like hangman's room, where they used to hang people, and there's a noose, and you can read all about what all used to happen there, and it was like definitely silent in the room, and I actually like did get a bit like, fuck, you know.
It's probably haunted.
Well, definitely, like it definitely would be, like if anywhere it's going to be, like it was the hangman's room.
Aye.
You know, and I really like got
Just
the
like,
willies.
Oh, mental. Way back to my massive house. Bye.
My house, it's not that big. I'm like annoying. I'm like not like a rich guy.
You appear to be,
I
but
know,
that's great. That's what
the
you
trick.
want.
That's the trick.
It's that middle class hair you have. I told you that
Oh,
before.
my hair and my hairline is smacks of old
but it gives
money.
it's all this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, where else am I gonna go with it? You know, I've got to
That
go.
way.
I swear. I used to go that side, and then when I went this side, things changed for me.
I believe
Honestly,
it.
things changed for me, and then I've even tried like going straight
Forward.
down.
Just be careful with that.
I know.
You could very light eyebrows. We could lose a lot of features. If it's
Can I
down to
tell
the
you
front.
something? Can I tell you something?
What?
Swear to God, being honest. I'm a very confident guy. But the only thing that I'm like, what would you say? The only thing I am, what's the best way to describe this?
Terrified of.
The only feature I look at myself and go, oh no, is my eyebrows. And you're right. There's no getting away from it. I've got light eyebrows.
And
And
lashes.
pardon?
Hello?
What did you say? What was the second thing?
Your lashes are quite light. You're very blonde. You know you're.
Yeah, and that's all good.
News. Okay.
That's all good.
You
But
imagine like what?
my eyebrows stop. I'm not. See, now I say this, right? People are going to mention it. They're going to mention it in the comments. They're going to say it.
Everybody talking.
My eyebrows stop halfway across because they're quite dark, and then they get
go
very
light.
blonde, and I hate that. And can I tell you something?
I'd love you to.
Right? Don't say it. Don't tell anyone this.
Don't tell anybody.
I was doing a TV thing recently.
Uh-huh.
Okay, for ITV, not important. ITV2, and ITV3, ITV4. It was ITV2. Hasn't been on yet, but it'll be good. And I was getting my makeup done, and I sat down in the chair, and
Did she just start laughing?
no,
Hello?
she said the sentence, "Your skin." Now, at the minute, we tiny spot on my forehead there because I'm really nervous because I've got a couple of big shows coming up. Don't worry about that. But at the time, I didn't, and I sat down, and the makeup artist looked me dead in the eye and said, "Your skin is flawless." But
No, she didn't.
she did.
You're
But then
full of
she said.
shit.
But then she said. But she said, "Would you be against a little tinted eyebrow pen on the eyebrows?" I was like, "Thought it was flawless." She goes, "Apart from your eyebrows, it's all flawless." And she put this wee like benefit
Yes.
brow thing on, and see when that went on, I was like, completed.
Am I right?
This is it. But can I
Hello
start?
world,
But
here
can
I
I
come.
start wearing that day to day?
Yes, if you want.
You think so?
Well, these guys.
But
If
like,
you want to wear it, wear it.
I know, but I wish I could be more like that. But then my mates will say things, you know.
Fuck it. Who cares?
I know.
That's my attitude towards most stuff.
But
Fuck
what if
it.
I wear it and it rains and it's all like crime, like mascara, I look like a wee emo?
I mean, that's not how it works. Do you know what I mean? When was the last
Okay.
time you seen women walking with like stuff down their eyes
Yeah. Not for a
outside
while.
of a Saturday night?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just see that if
But
you
where,
like it.
where would I stop though? Because then I get that, and then I'd be like, oh,
You need a
bit
wee
of
eyelash
blusher.
tint to match it because you don't want to be too different in shade. So you get a wee
But then fast forward a year, and I'm going to Turkey to get surgery. I'm like, come
a
back, totally different guy.
massive boobs. Whoa.
Yeah. I mean, if we could do it for the Patreon or something, it'd be fun.
I think you should go for it.
Can we also talk about here? Let me ask you about this, right? Being from Derry, why do people in Derry love Halloween like nowhere else?
It's in our DNA, you know. It's mental.
You said that like you're doing an ad for Derry for Halloween.
It just is. I don't know what it is, but there's just I'm like, obviously I'm off this week, so I'll be going up to do stuff. But it's just such a jovial.
When you say you're going up to do
Cut
stuff
that
like
bit out.
Halloween rhyming,
What do you mean, sorry?
Halloween rhyming,
Halloween rhyming.
yeah.
What's that?
It's how as a kid you make a fucking fortune once a year. Halloween rhyming, go door to door.
You used to call it Halloween rhyming.
Yeah. What do you call it?
Trick or treat.
No, that's American.
It is American. We used to call it. I remember when I was younger, we used to say, "Have you anything for Halloween? Have you anything for Halloween?" Was how it was said.
You rap a door and say, have you anything for Halloween?
Have you anything for Halloween?
Right.
And now kids say trick or treat, and it's like, oh,
Well,
damn it.
in Hollywood we do a wee bit different. There's
Excuse
a
me,
rhyme.
darling.
No, there's a rhyme.
Any
We-
avocados?
We go by the contact, a chip and pin machine. No, we don't. We take crypto now. No, there's a Halloween rhyme we used to do as kids, and it
Okay.
goes like this. So you rap a door. What's your thing? Anything for Halloween?
Anything for Halloween?
Say if that was me, I go, no effort. I close the door. But we used to
Lazy.
we used to knock a door, and then people would answer, and you went like this. You went, Halloween's coming and the goose is getting fat. Will you please put a penny in the old... It goes on for a while. Will you please put
Six
a
verses.
penny in the old man's hat? If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. It's not over. If you haven't got a halfpenny, God bless you.
That's gorgeous.
It's good
And
because
really
they're getting
long.
a song from it.
They're getting a song, but if 25 kids turn up in the space of an hour singing that fucking
Yeah.
song,
Yeah.
the last one's getting a punch.
Yeah.
Not an apple or sweets.
What about when someone did give you an apple? You're like, haha, good
That
one.
was
Where's the
all-
cash?
But it was an apple and monkey nuts. Do you know the nuts? The monkey
Yeah.
nuts?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was just so shit.
You're like, this is no good to me.
There'd be a couple of houses that would have give sweets.
Right.
I remember one year there was someone giving out wee Vitazay bottles and we went mental.
That's good. Like, that's good.
It was really impressive.
But it's like an apple. You know, you're like, I'm
so much
7,
fruit.
dickhead.
You're like, fuck that. My man's
Yeah.
really trying to get me to eat that. I'm not eating your shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Wrap it up. But no, that rhyme just feels really unnecessary and long. And God's in it. And Halloween feels
God bless you.
counterproductive.
Yeah, but it's just a wee God bless you. It's a wee...
Does God know? Because
Yeah, well, you would clean up. Like, you'd proper clean up.
because you were like singing about God dressed as like a devil.
Yeah.
or
No,
like
no.
a
We used
zombie.
to dress as poor people. But we...
Used to wear Adidas bottoms and a peach
we
shirt.
went into JD
Weird.
Sports and just said, look, whatever you recommend.
What do the local youths wear these days?
In Hollywood? Suits.
Thought so.
Tailored suits.
I know. Double-breasted.
Fellas, I'm going to play football here. I'm dressing down chinos. You know, like not as...
Winkle
not as-
pickers.
But I don't get the Derry Halloween. I love that they're that into it, but it's weird. It's like me being like, oh, see at Easter. We go nuts.
I bet Easter's about shit. I mean, you get eggs, but
Yeah.
it's not as fun as Halloween.
Did you say AIDS?
Yeah, I said Easter and AIDS. That's exactly that. Because that's what happens at Easter. No, eggs.
Oh, eggs.
Yes.
But I like that Derry just go all out for it.
Yes.
Because
It's one
that's
of the biggest
very
in
cool.
the world.
I know, it's very cool. Like, and I don't think I'd go... I don't like standing. It's, you know what I mean? Like,
Just standing
people are like,
about.
just walk around and go around the streets. I think if I was there for a gig...
You'd bring a wee chair.
I would love, but I'd love that. But I don't know about I wouldn't travel for it specifically. But
Right.
maybe when my son's a bit older, maybe he'd love it.
Well, they do fireworks and there's big festivals and they do a thing around the walls. It's called, is it like Lighting of the Walls or Awakening of the Walls? So you walk around the wall and there's mad stuff. There's like light shows and art and there's acrobats and all these class
doing the
stuff.
splits?
Me doing the splits just on top of the walls. But there's loads of stuff on and there's loads for kids and families and stuff. It's just...
Because
I
Hollywood,
think I officially work for this bloody council. Me and Saoirse do this all the time. We're like, Derry's brilliant. You have to visit it. Like unofficial sponsors
yeah.
for it.
I'd be invoicing like.
I know.
But we at Hollywood every year there used to be an unbelievable firework display. Mike, do you remember? And Tony, you probably saw it. There used to be the best fireworks, and it went on for ages. And one year I got so into it that I pissed myself on the way home, and I was like too old for it to have happened. Not like in my 20s or
You
my
were
teens.
30?
No, I was probably like, this is, by the way, bear in mind this is definitely too old. I was probably like 8 or 9.
That's too old.
It is too old, but the firework, I was just so in the moment.
The trauma.
But it was unreal. But then as the years went on, the firework displays, like, I love my town, but the firework displays not
You were
as
just
good.
bone dry and you thought that was shit.
Like one year it was just a guy. It's just like a guy with a fucking telegraph on fire. Oh, you know, it's not like, it's nowhere near as good. But I just don't know why people go nuts for Halloween, but I like it.
I do love it as well.
Last thing I want to ask you about is, can we talk about this? You did a horror movie with a mutual friend of ours,
Who?
Christian. There.
Yes.
He's
Oh,
been on
of
the podcast
course.
before.
It's a horror film.
Which I imagine would be very fun to do.
It was. I loved it. There's a couple of scenes in it that's like sort of wee mini stunts that were just brilliant, and it's how do you say it without sounding
Is it like,
dick?
is it lighthearted or is it like 100% horror?
It's a creature feature. So, you know what I mean by creature feature? So
You
a
mentioned
genre.
kitchen sink earlier, and I thought you were in a program about
Just
kitchen
sitting on a
sinks.
Belfast sink.
Yeah.
But with a creature feature, it's a subgenre of horror.
Okay.
That's quite good. My cousin Caves is really, really, really into horror. She knows all the subs. She knows all the crack. So whenever I said that to her, she was like, I know exactly what's going on. It's going to be great. But it's like, it has a creature feature. So there's creatures in it. That's the horror, basically.
Right.
That's part of it.
Like Gremlins.
I suppose that's a creature feature as well. I suppose. And a really modern one, well done. So it was brilliant to film. It was mad crack that we had. It was just, they built everything as well. They built all the sets. It was in between the 2 COVID lockdowns.
Right.
So the stuff was really, really impressive. And it was just mad. Some of this, I can't wait to see it, because it's just some of the stuff that I was like, you're standing there like, this is my job. This is mental.
Yeah.
I can't obviously talk about it. And I got some great photos after it's out that I can put up.
Right.
That were just mental stuff, but like really, really good.
I imagine a lot of that kind of movie, you won't see the stuff at the time when you're filming, if that makes sense. They'll put it in or whatever.
Well, we saw the actual creatures. We saw like an image of them, and then some of because there's puppeteers, obviously, because creatures don't exist, probably. So we saw some of the outfits and stuff like that, and it was just, it's class looking the way they've all done it. Really, really creepy.
I'd say a puppeteer would be a pretty cool life.
Well, do you know Becky, who plays Aisling on Derry Girl? Do you know Jenny Joyce?
Yeah, she's great.
The two, she is a puppeteer, and she's really, really good, really successful. She's done loads of stuff, but she's actually a really big puppeteer as well, randomly. She's just come, it doesn't matter, actually, just leave that bit out.
That's okay. Maybe we can pull some strings and get her on.
Hey, do you know what? I've actually said to the other girls
Julie, I think everyone missed that joke.
No, we got it. It was just shit.
Fair enough.
No, but actually, the other girls says that they'd be up for coming on as well if you wanted more guests on.
Yeah, we'd love that.
If you're up for it, if you fancy it, like.
Yeah, we'd love
But
that.
I mean, Becky would be great to chat to. I'm sure I think she's stuff coming out and stuff as well.
Oh, speaking of stuff coming out, you do anything out of the ordinary? You got anything in? Get ready for this term. What you do know? Anything in pre-production?
Ooh.
Or post?
Here comes that pregnancy again.
It's twins now.
It's twins. Yes. So basically, everything I've been working on the last couple of years is all coming out at the same time, which is great.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
2 movies, because there's one that's come out in America and Canada called Redeeming Love, and then obviously
Is that the one you played a prostitute in? Played a prostitute.
that one, just in case you weren't sure, guys. Yes, so there's that one.
Do you do that? And if that
Just constantly.
the most unsubtle prostitute
I know.
on the street
Do you
corner?
wanna fiver? Just out the window, the top window. But
You playing a prostitute.
playing prostitute, a hooker.
Yeah.
And then the Unwanted, which is the horror movie. Derry Girls will be out at some point. Screw will be out at some point. This is me just blowing smoke up my ass.
See, you don't like watching yourself, but if I was you, I think this is the best time ever, because I'd have like a small period where I get to watch me and everything.
You'd be delighted.
Oh,
You'd just be
yeah.
in the house eating. Just
I'll
buzzing.
sometimes even try and get CCTV from a garage forecourt if I've been in that garage recently to just see if I can spot myself on pump 8. Just
Just
two
give it the
handing it.
best. Pop it
I
back.
two hand petrol pump.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I'm not surprised.
I just like to make, you know what I mean?
Aye.
Like to make sure I'm doing it right.
Just make the most of every experience.
Do you know I got a Facebook message a while ago, I probably mentioned this podcast before, and this guy goes, all right, mate. And I was on like my Facebook page, like my comedy page. He's like, all right, mate. Think you drove away without paying for some petrol last week. If you want to come in and sort that. And I was like, then I realised, like, oh fuck, I know exactly what he's talking about.
I
was
did
like,
steal that.
I was like, oh yeah, cheers. I was like, you could have gone to the Sunday World, LOL. He's like, yeah, just if you want to come in and pay that.
Yeah.
He's obviously trying to track me down, and then I was telling the boys, I went then like 4 days later and sorted it.
Calm down.
But it was very, very cool of him to do that.
Did he put it on your public page?
No, he DM'd me about it.
Oh, I thought it was in the public page.
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, I two-handed it.
Do you think he went to the Sunday Life and they went?
Yeah, they're like, it's probably not. And then there's a photo of me. Diesel thief.
Do you know what? You were talking about that earlier. And saying yes to stuff and not sort of having that.
Are you going to say this podcast an example of things you need to start saying no to?
No, but it was like photographs and stuff like that. I done a TV show years ago called 6 Degrees.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, everybody's buzzing.
I remember watching that at the time, being like, I wish I was in this, but I wasn't doing stand-up or acting, so I don't know how they would have known to come to me about it.
But I done a photograph. I done an interview because again this was super early on, like press and I didn't know what I was doing. Super wet behind the ears, like oh my god, this is exactly the same as Hollywood, not this Hollywood. But I was just buzzing. So at the time I was like, can you do this? I was like, of course. Assuming you could trust everybody. You know, this sort of like they would never do anything that would be untoward or whatever, but they do. And you learn the hard way. So I done this interview, and then the guy was like, so we're going to get a photograph of you for the thing, arms folded. This guy, and they were like, let's get one of you stand against the wall and look into the camera. So, you know, this sort of, this horse shit. And I just stood like this, and he's like, really put your shoulders against the wall. And I was just giving it like, and like, okay, so just really head up. And I was really posing. I thought, what's he doing? I got them the newspaper, opened it up. I was like from here to here, full size. They wrote the article around my tit, like literally around me. And I just thought, you fucking dickhead. Like, it was the most...
Thinking back to it, the one I just did this morning, the guy's like, if you want to shuffle forward in that chair, but keep your knees and shoulders back.
Oh, that was a really bad joke, sorry.
God. Yeah, you wouldn't even think about that at the time. Because
well, you just trust the person that they're not going to be sleazy or a dick, unfortunately, because it was years ago. And whenever it came out, I looked and I thought, oh, what a fucking asshole. Like, what a creepy weirdo. And I was really young at the time, and he was really old, like, you know, the usual. And I just remember looking thinking, oh, lesson learned there. But you just do these things and you're like, okay, I've clocked that. That's
what we should do, track him down. You need to do elbow to the head.
Have some of that, dickhead.
Trademark move. That would stop all that shit. If people just knew that was your trademark.
I need to get a new one because I'm 5'2" and it's very few people I'm going to be able to do that to.
What about elbow to the chin, the jaw, going up?
Or
you're not going to be able to get over the top.
Got beside me.
You know what I like? And this is a move I would use in prison if I needed to, but I don't think I would. Elbow into the stomach, keep it there, and then hit my fist into it.
Fix your sunglasses.
Honestly,
and
like fold it up like a violin, like no problem.
Or just elbow and then like crotch.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good move. Yeah.
That would be cool.
So in pre-production, is there anything you're gonna start filming soon? That's like.
There is something that I can't talk about. It's such a dick thing to say, but it's true.
Where are you in the world are you shooting it?
Here. Oh. And it's not what you'd expect.
Is it about space? Because I would not expect that.
Can you imagine? I was just like randomly, Elon Musk was chatting away and we're going to just collaborate on something. Yeah. On a new single. I
love that.
But there is a couple of things coming up. There's a few more things coming out next year that we can keep your eyes peeled and all that. So I'll be back down here to talk about it. Sure.
Yeah. What do you think of this? Do you like our Hollywood art?
I think it's gorgeous. Is that an upside down cross?
It's the maypole. And by the way, the maypole's back, baby. I'll need to explain this very quickly before we go.
Is this a Protestant thing? Cause
no. No. It's not Protestant. Yeah, Celtic tops get burned on Friday nights. But the maypole is Hollywood. We have a maypole. No one knows why. On a May Day every year, we girls and some boys dance around it.
That's an English thing, obviously, then.
We started it because it started here.
Okay.
Now, the maypole... What happened? The maypole, was it the storm? It blew over. Now, that's pretty shit on our part. But the maypole is giant, and it's just literally down there, and it blew over. Okay. But this week, the maypole's back. We're back in business.
Delighted.
No one knows what it's for or what it represents or anything like that.
I mean, I've heard of a maypole where you dance around it with the wee things.
Yeah. May Day, people do it every year.
I mean, well done.
Yeah,
I
well, I mean, they do fly a flag from it. The more I think about it, but you know, I don't know.
So it is a Protestant
some of them.
thing.
I don't know. Some of them just they like doing
Like
that. But
burn stuff, but don't burn the other stuff.
yeah, but everyone's just like, let the maypole just be whatever it is.
Let's just celebrate it.
But
for
it's
what
back.
it
But
is.
yeah, Tony did this. Tony over there did this.
I thought it.
Nice.
No offense, Tony, but it looks like an upside down cross. Obviously, 'cause I'm not from here.
Yeah, but now I've explained it. It shouldn't. And that's Johnny the Jig. That outline's Johnny the Jig.
Okay, who's that?
Johnny the Jig is a play park, which is just down there. And outside it, there's a wee bit of rock and then a sculpture of wee Johnny the Jig.
Johnny the Jig.
Yeah.
Is that the wee Finian? These are all laughing at. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Johnny the Jig.
Johnny the Jig.
Okay.
Johnny the Jig.
Is there any more context, or is it just Johnny the Jig?
It's Johnny the Jig.
That's
Just
it.
Johnny the Jig. On a scale of Don to James McLean, we are James McLean.
Happy days.
Thank you very much for coming on. Always appreciate it. It's nice to be able to actually do one because we've always done them over Zoom. And
I know.
over Zoom, sometimes you go to talk and then the other person goes to talk and you're like, you go ahead and then you say.
It's like an awkward first date,
Yeah, exactly.
where
But
nobody gets. You can cut that.
you're
out.
like an auntie at a family party and I'm like, oh, she's had a gin. Oh
Here
no.
she goes.
Someone take that gin off her.
Big
She's
time.
doing this again to the waiters. Cheers for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.